Alright, let's settle this once and for all. What does a DJ actually do?
What the f do DJs actually do?
It's a valid question, honestly. But by the end of this video, not only do you know what DJs do, you'll understand how playing music developed into the art of DJing. It all started in the early 1900s. Radio was cutting edge and live bands were pretty expensive. Enter the first DJs, or as they were known back then, those guys with the records.
In 1906, Reginald Fessenden played the first ever recorded music over the airwaves. Back then, radio DJs were just playing records to entertain listeners. Nothing fancy, just some vinyl and vibes.
Fast forward to the 50s and Jamaica took DJing to the streets with massive sound systems.
These DJs and selectors didn't just play music, they threw block parties where you couldn't escape the bass. Imagine your Bluetooth speaker, but like the size of a fridge. DJing wasn't just about music, it was about creating a scene.
Then came the 70s, the era of disco.
In clubs like Crisco Disco, The Sanctuary and Studio 54, DJs like Richie Rivera and Larry Levant mastered the art of mixing, turning records into experiences. They didn't just press play, they created ongoing journeys by using two turntables and a mixer.
Meanwhile, in the Bronx, hip-hop DJs like Kool Herc were flipping the game, literally.
Herc started looping breakbeats, those funky drum sections, which laid the foundation of hip-hop. They were inventing scratching, beat juggling and other moves that made DJing to a full-blown performance.
In the late 70s and the early 80s, disco was fading, but DJs weren't done with dance music.
In Chicago, DJs like Frankie Knuckles and Ron Hardy were experimenting with drum machines, synthesizers and extended edits of disco tracks. And boom!
House music was born.
The warehouse where Frankie Knuckles played literally gave house music its name. Imagine a room full of people dancing to hypnotic beats that felt like disco's cooler, weirder cousin. And in Detroit, guys like Johan Atkins, Kevin Saunderson and Derek May were creating something darker and more mechanical, techno. It was house music's futuristic sibling, inspired by machines, industrial sounds and the soul of a city rebuilding itself. They called it the sound of the future. And honestly, I still think that's true.
These years, the most iconic piece of hardware for DJs was a Technics turntable. The infamous SL1200.
In the 80s and 90s, house and techno exploded in underground clubs and illegal raves. DJs weren't just entertainers, they were storytellers, blending tracks into seamless journeys that could last all night. Imagine hauling crates of vinyl to a club and then spending hours of mixing them into hypnotic sets. DJs like Jeff Mills, Carl Craig and Sasha weren't just playing records, they were sculpting emotions.
Okay, vinyl purists, I'm sorry, but it's time to talk about a major plot twist in DJ history. The rise of CDJs.
In the late 80s and the early 90s, DJs were hauling crates of vinyl to clubs. But then, CDs entered the chat. At first, using CDs was kind of frowned upon. I mean, if vinyl was a romantic candlelit dinner, CDs were more like takeout. But as the CD players like the Pioneer CDJ 500 hit the market in the 90s,
DJs realized they could still create magic without breaking their backs on vinyl crates. Efficiency, my friends. And in 2001 came the Gamechanger, the CDJ 1000.
For the first time, DJs could scratch and manipulate tracks on a CD, like vinyl. It felt futuristic, like vinyl, but with a cheat code. You could even set loops and cues to create live edits on the fly. But CDs didn't last forever. By the late 2000s, USB technology took over. And suddenly, DJs didn't even need to burn CDs anymore. With USB sticks, DJs could carry thousands of tracks in their pocket and plug them directly into a CDJ setup.
Behold, the entire dance floor in one tiny drive.
Software like Rekordbox made USB DJing even smoother. You could pre-analyze your tracks, set cues, and even organize playlists, making sure everything was perfect before you hit the decks. No more surprises, just pure focus on the music.
Nowadays, DJs combine vinyl and USB setups, proving you don't have to choose one above the other.
It's about using the tools that work best for your style. Whether you're selecting vinyl or scrolling through playlists, the essence of DJing is the same, taking people on a journey.
So, what does a DJ actually do? Turning knobs, pushing buttons, spinning jog wheels, but more importantly, they are curating music, creating memories, and shaping music culture.
What the fuck do DJs actually do?
So, now you know what DJs do? Want to know how they do it? Subscribe and check my next video out. Peace.